Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 9 of the BAM Media Sports Show. Man, guys, we're excited to be back with you guys, and we apologize for the brief break in between videos. We had some technical difficulties. We've been trying to get figured out, but we're back up and running. We got a few things figured out, so we're glad to be back with you guys. Bugs, take it away.
Well, good evening. I'm glad to be back. A happy New Year to our viewers, likes, and subscribers. And we just thankful for be back, and obviously we're ready to platform into the new year with the new fresh discussions to talk about, which is obviously the recent semifinal games in the college football playoff. And I think um, this year's playoff, I think it has been fascinating. This is just my opinion from an overall standpoint, but I think these semifinal games kind of supports that idea. When you think about the 27-24 finish with Notre Dame and Penn State, and the 28-14 finish last night against with Texas and Ohio State. Both games were great. They lived up to the hype as far as being very competitive. Both games were fourth quarter games, the games that were decided within the last minutes of the game, which obviously keeps your viewers interested, but is great also for the parity aspect when you talk about always having to have resources, make sure that your off-season programs are in place, make sure that recruiting is A1. That was a true depiction of that these last two nights. And I think personally that you are going to see an even better uh, output and performance going forward with other teams getting in from years to come because of the new format. I think the 12-team format shows that it is something that is very, very on time, and it is something that is going to be fruitful. What do you think concerning the two playoff games, recent semifinal games? What stuck out to you the most about them?
Despite without the hiccups I had about the playoff, committee, setting the 12 teams, it ultimately the playoffs has performed to I would say whatever they were looking for when creating the 12-team playoff. I think they got that from it. You got teams who haven't been in the finals now. You got some teams who had some great home field advantage that allowed them to get to the next round and even play into the semifinal round and essentially get to the championship. So definitely, if you look at these last two games, especially on Thursday night and Friday night, that Notre Dame and Penn State game was a slobber knocker. It was one of those real tight games, kind of a slow pace, defensive. We're gonna fight all night in the trenches game. It broke away in the late second half, and they decided to score some points in the fourth quarter. So they brought some excitement in the fourth quarter. That was good to see. But it's always good to see some good defensive football. I can't lie to
Correct.
you. I think
Correct.
these last two games been some pretty defensive bouts. Ohio State and Texas, they definitely played a defensive game up until the last second of that game, with the final score being 28-14. Uh, Ohio State, they should win it all. If you ask me, just by the team they got, the personnel they got, the coaching scheme they got the right players, they got the right fit. I think they got the easiest route to a championship, and that could just me being biased. But I think this will be a. I'm not gonna say the game will be easy because it's still a game of football. It's still a game of X's and O's. You still got to go out and execute. I truly do think Notre Dame's defense is top 5 in the country. So if you from what I see on the field, so if you
Well, I think the stats support that as well. So
okay, well that's even better. I just know them boys be playing lights out. When we talk about
yeah,
a Swarm D for Bama, man, them boys play like Swarm D, and so they got some physicality they bring to them. So it's gonna be interesting, man, to really see how they match up against Ohio State. Because me and you was just talking the other day about Jeremiah Smith, how I said can nobody stop him as a freshman, but last night they pretty much shut him down. Well, quote unquote, by the stats, they shut him down.
And I don't wanna stop you, but I wanna
Yeah,
put that point that you just said with that. And people, if you're a real football junkie, you probably on Twitter, you probably on Instagram and following these different pages that do breakdowns and things of that nature. But if you're watching the game live, which I did get a chance to watch the whole second half, I watched bits and pieces of the first half. I probably go back and watch it after the next playoff games go off. But I knew that Texas would come out with the same type of mentality, with the same type of respect for Jeremiah Smith in the same uh, way that Michigan did. When you think about it, that game was a 13-10 game, and it was solely because of their ability to play double bracket coverage over the top with Jeremiah Smith, no matter where he was placed. And I'm talking about from the slot to uh, tight twins, uh, tight bunches, wide bunches. It didn't matter. They were able to come up with an idea and a plan to be able to play double coverage in some type of form or fashion over Jeremiah Smith, and still be able to limit the other talented receivers that they have, because
yeah,
everybody talks about Jeremiah Smith and warranted it you should,
yeah,
but
for sure.
Cardinal Tate, Ibuka. These guys are go getters. Emeka Ibuka, it looks like a first round guy, and he probably is.
True.
So, especially if they win it all on the 20th, in which, like you said, I agree as well. I think Ohio State going. Last night's game to me was the natty. I like Notre Dame. I respect Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
I credit him for the job that he's been able to do. I think he is uh, going to continue to do a great job, and I also think that he is one of the uh, should be celebrated because of him being part of history, being one of the first minority coaches in the national championship game. So I think it's going to be a big stage for him. I just can't go against the talent that Ohio State has, and I'm talking about on all phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, and the caliber of players that they have filling those slots for them. Now,
Well,
I got a great question for you. Since you said defensive battle, do you think Ohio State's defense can overtake a top five defense this year? I mean, and I'm talking about this year. Like Notre Dame, if you go look at their whole track record of this year, even the game, the only game that you probably wouldn't say this is probably the game they lost to NIU, but they play solid defensive football all year round, and I probably would credit that to them having Marcus Freeman, who was a former Ohio State linebacker. So having that experience as a player, and then being able to translate to another blue blood program as a coach, I think it shows that that's the trend that they're going to continue to uh, shine in, as far as having a good quality defensive program and being able to have a solid run game offensively, which everyone wants to do that, but do that in multiple ways, which they have done this year with Riley Leonard. So, do you think their defense can be better than Notre Dame's defense?
are we
Sorry for
just
that, Bill.
are we just talking for this one game or as a whole year?
I'm talking one game. It's all for right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter about the rest of the year at this point.
For sure, for sure.
That's what's
Ohio State.
crazy about the national championship.
I mean, for sure. If you look at the talent, Ohio State's defense should be better. I mean, talent wise, I mean they have had a great defense all year too. So I mean, honestly,
And since you say talent, I'm not gonna stop you no more. But I'm just gonna say a few names off that defense. Uh, we got Caleb Downs, we got Jack Sawyer, Uh, and with those two names alone, you're talking about guys that are able to affect two different phases of the game or two different layers of the game defensively, as far as Caleb Downs being an all-around defensive back and Jack Sawyer being lined up in multiple positions when you talk about their pass rush packages, and also him being a solid Jack defensive end or Will defensive end or outside linebacker, however you want to play him, depending on the type of front that I think it's Jim Knowles wants to play. So,
but to just to add to that, I do think just for this one game, me personally, I'm expecting a good Bama Notre Dame butt whooping again, except this time it's Ohio State. That's that's what I'm expecting, just being honest. Because of the style of defense Notre Dame like to play, they play a lot of man coverage. You're not going one-on-one man coverage against Jeremiah Smith. So you either finna adjust and you finna try to run a different scheme for this one game, and you're gonna blow a couple coverages because it's new to your guys, or you finna go out there with pride and you're gonna think you Bama and you're gonna say we running what we running. We ain't changing for nobody. So we finna lock up man on man, and Buddy gonna walk away with 170 something yards receiving and about 2-3 touchdowns. So I don't think it's just gonna be solely him that will prevail them to the championship. But they got too many weapons on offense. Travion Henderson, it's about time for him to break out. He's been there long enough. Quinshon Judkins, he's been in college 3 years now, so his time has came. And Will Howard, I mean, he been in college for a while too. This year 3 or 4 for him too. So, I mean, it's time. It's time, man. A lot of these guys been in school, so they don't have just a young team. They got some guys that's been playing some ball for a little while. So, with the coaching staff, with the NIL resources that's pouring into the program, it's prime time for Ohio State football, man. It's prime time. If they don't get it this year, Ryan Day deserves to be fired right after the game. Don't deserve to get on the plane back. It should be over. If he loses to Marcus Freeman and this Notre Dame team, he got to go.
Now I won't go to that extreme because I will say this: making it to the national championship, especially the first year of the 12-team playoff, that's gonna secure anybody's job.
Ohio State don't care about that. They don't care about that. He made it to the championship in 2020, and what happened? Embarrassed. They ain't trying to see that no more.
I understand.
Lost to Michigan how many years in a row? Oh, he on the hot seat now. The AD ain't gonna tell you that. But from a fan perspective, Ryan, they on the hot seat every year, dog, until he bring home a natty. His chance is gonna run out one of these years. Because I mean, like I say, they got the luck of the draw catching that seed they caught. Let's be real. Ohio State wasn't supposed to be no 9 seed, man. I don't know 8 seed, man.
Yeah, 8.
They wasn't supposed to be no 8 seed, man. Any relevant football season, Ohio State is a top 5, top 6 seed. They don't slip to no 8 seed, man. So they ain't make the conference championship this year. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that I feel like the Ohio State fan base still wants. They want a natty. He get a natty, he there. You ain't got to worry about him. He there. But if you don't somehow get his natty, bro, you know how media is. They gonna
because matter of fact, so people at First Take, and not at First Take, but people at ESPN were disputing, and I wouldn't say disputing, but having disagreements and acknowledging those disagreements on their platforms, as far as people on First Take like Stephen A. Smith having conversations about Ryan Day's expectations, and then commentators like Kurt Herbstreit and others during the game saying that Ryan Day is doing such a great job during the playoff run, and people shouldn't throw out that fireworks so early. Now, me personally, I am a coach, so therefore I will not be expressing my intent that anybody should be losing their job. I will only be critical of the play, the performance of the players, and also the performance of the coaches as well, as far as adjustments, demeanor, ability to lead and control, but also manage their program. So that's just how the perspectives go as far as being in it and being out of it. You know how it is.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I agree.
so I got another question for you. Do you think Notre Dame style of football is going to be something that can be successful against Ohio State when Ohio State has been more battle tested in my eyes than Notre Dame?
No, no, that's an easy no. Notre
Easy
Dame
no.
offense is. I don't like it, bro. I don't like it. I like Riley Leonard because he's from the state of Alabama. Then again, we coming from bias now. It's a fan talking here. Uh, I truly just don't think he. This me personally. I hope you don't watch this Riley Leonard. But don't take this personal. I just don't see him being a better quarterback than Will Howard because he doesn't have the weapons that Will Howard has around him. Like they just had their first 100-yard receiver, or one of the first. No, I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but
Talking about Great House.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I heard some crazy stat last night when he got 100 yards. I don't know if it was he. I don't know if it was only 100-yard receiving game from a receiver there this year. But if that was it in game 14 or 15, that don't say a lot about your quarterback throwing the football.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And
and
which I will add that their style all year has been to have complementary run game because I think they have 2,000-yard backs, and Riley Leonard is considered a dual threat guy as far as how they use him.
he a game
So
manager. He a game manager.
correct,
He about like
correct.
the AJ McCarron's back in the day. Hand the ball off and don't lose the game, son.
But he's also added in the run game scheme with his
Mm-hmm.
athleticism.
For sure.
So that adds an extra dynamic. Then AJ McCarron was able to provide because like I know, and I probably would say that this is fair. You probably, if you just watch Leonard this year, and I just say this year, now I
Mm-hmm.
can't speak for his time at Duke. I think he had different seasons at Duke, based on uh, one, his competition, and then two, uh, his coaching situation. So
Yeah.
coordinators, systems, how they manage that. But AJ McCarron, you said AJ McCarron. Obviously, I'm gonna think AJ McCarron was a better passer than Riley Leonard
That's,
because
I was
AJ McCarron did not ever have a run game dynamic to
I
him
was
besides play.
I was more so speaking I was more so speaking on the game managing side because AJ had two great backs and all his job was to do was to make the necessary throws when needed. Don't turn the ball over, hand the ball and feed your beast, and don't lose
So
the game.
and that
That's
is
exactly
exactly
what we
how
do.
they approach it with Notre Dame.
And I think that's how they're doing it with Riley Leonard. So his game may not be throwing the football, and it may be more running the football and incorporate play action pass here and there. But
Mhm.
ultimately, his job is to not lose the football game.
Yeah,
His job is to go in there, play sound football, play fundamental football. Do not turn the football over. Make sure your running backs get 15, 20 touches apiece and ride or die with your defense.
because the running back getting 15, 20 touches. On average, you're playing about anywhere from 60 to 75 snaps on offense or defense. So that only leaves half of the room for you to make certain throws to be able to manage and win the
Mm-hmm.
football game. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that approach is what a lot of coaches do,
Yeah.
especially when they feel like they don't have a top tier quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they don't want to put the onus or the whole uh, pressure,
Responsibility.
total. Yeah, there you go. Responsibility on them to win football games.
That's
And
that's fair. They
that's
young
fine.
kids. They kids at the end of I mean they men, but they still in college, so I get it.
But I think you're going to see that a little bit Well, I ain't gonna say you're going to, but I think you're seeing that more too in the league now
Mm-hmm.
because of the constant reminder from different situations in the league that you cannot leave your rookie quarterback out to dry as far as drafting him first round and wanting him to eventually be your franchise quarterback. When you talk about that aspect, you're going to see more and more teams do it at the college level as well because now it's about retaining. So you want to make sure you get guys in that want to be in your program that are actually getting developed and going to contribute to your program one day and love your organization and want to better the organization with their play.
Facts. Facts.
So
I got a quick question for you. You catch that game a few minutes ago? That Chargers and Texans game. Did you see any of it?
nah, man, I was working all day today, man, refereeing basketball games. So
So
I
so
probably ain't get set up for real till about 5:30 here.
so you locked into the playoffs? You locked in? You know about the matchups? You what you
Honestly, man, I know about the matchups. I actually got it um, pulled up right here. So here, and I'll just start with the AFC. And since the AFC was, I think the games they played today, tomorrow are going to be the NFC, and Monday night's going to be NFC games. I want to say.
Yeah, I think it's one more AFC game tomorrow, and that's Buffalo and Denver.
Correct. So, Kansas City with the first round bye, of course, which leads 2-7 matchup with Denver and Buffalo tomorrow. Um, the 3-6 matchup, which is currently going on right now, the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers. And the 4-5 matchup has already been decided. The Texans won 32-12 earlier. What did you see intriguing in that game? Obviously, D'Amico Ryan being the head coach. That's a team that well, I definitely gonna follow because I'm a black football coach and I support all black coaches at every level and want to see them win and want to see them continue to make a great impact
Yeah.
um, and get more and more or continue to open the door for others to have the opportunity so you
Mm-hmm.
can increase our viewing in the field.
Yeah.
But what did you see in the game, man? What was going on?
Well,
What stood out?
first and foremost, let me get a shout out to Alabama Crimson Tide real quick because my boy D'Amico, he played there. So let me just get that out there. Outside of that, Bama got 38 players on NFL starting rosters for the playoffs. Hand clap for that. That's a great success story for the old ball coach, even though he ain't done no more them his guys. But just on that game, man, I think it's gonna be a problem for the Texans to move forward, depending on whoever that matchup is, just due to the fact I think CJ Stroud is a good young quarterback, but I for some reason I just don't think he's ready to play in the AFC championship style game or Super Bowl just yet. And I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. Sometimes in his play is kind of inconsistency. Sometimes it's inconsistent at times. He can start off playing fabulous. He can have a couple, dry spurts. I think he had decent yards in the first half, but they had only 2 first downs until the last drive. You know what I'm saying? So, and that offense was ranked, I want to say 15th in either rush or pass, and I want to say in the 20th rank in the opposite. So they're not in the top 10 in rushing or passing as an offense. So I think with him being a top 2 quarterback in year 2, going off of last year, I was expecting to see a little bit more this year, but you got that sophomore slump. In the NFL, it's real for everybody. I don't care how good you is. You either was bad your rookie year and you had a good sophomore year, or you was good your rookie year and you had a bad sophomore year. But the Texans D line, man, it's nasty. That defense nasty. I can't lie to you. If CJ Stroud cannot turn the ball over, they might can make some noise. That defense tough. That Will Anderson on the end. Then you got Autry, Nico Autry. Then you got what's his name? Danielle Hunter. Man,
And then
they got some guys on the line. Then you got them linebackers. You got the safety.
and them corners.
Man, they got a lot of players.
Yeah, yeah. And it's gonna be obviously it's gonna be good ball. With this being the NFL playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
cutting it down from 32 to 16. Going to Kansas City. Know it's gonna be cold. Know it's gonna be an environment
That's what
going
they
up
got.
against the defender.
That's what they got next.
Yes, 4-5 matchup against number one again. And well, I would say again because obviously they played each other in the seasons.
I thought it depended on who win the other matchups. I think the NFL is different.
No, it's already set.
Oh, it's
So
already set. Oh, okay.
and the 4-5 matchup play one, and that's on both sides.
Okay.
Yep. So Kansas City will be playing the Texans, and with the game going on right now, I'm obviously going to be talking about the Ravens. I like the fact that you have two dynamic guys in the backfield with the two-time MVP, maybe three-time MVP, depending on the voting this year, Lamar Jackson,
Yeah.
and then the bruiser and the all-time back in Derrick Henry being in the backfield together. I think having a stable rushing attack has allowed Lamar to have a great year throwing the football. I think this is just my opinion, and I want to hear what you think. I think this may have been his best year throwing the football by far in the NFL. Shannon Sharp was throwing out his stats the other day when they were having a discussion about it on First Take,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something along the lines of 41 touchdowns and like 4 interceptions, and I was dumbfounded because to hear that and to know that this is the same guy that was drafted toward the end of the first round and was told or asked by many different teams in the league as to whether or not he would be open to playing a different position. And he told them solely with his mom as his representation that he's a quarterback and a quarterback only.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year, and obviously being a two-time MVP proves it itself. But I think this year proves it from a quarterback standpoint for him because of the efficiency he's been able to play with as a passer. Um, Play action pass does create an avenue for that, and I think you can see it. Derrick Henry being an all-world rusher, and then Lamar being electric with his legs as well. What defense is going to be able to tame them both if they're going at an effective rate? You know, so
Nobody.
correct. And they're up right now. We're in the start of the second quarter, 7-0, and also at home. So I like the Ravens, and they were talking about it on the ESPN network all week about how big this year's playoff run is going to be for Lamar Jackson and the rest of the Ravens organization, but him individually because of his ability to win two back-to-back MVPs. They feel like he's already an accomplished player, and obviously he is. But this championship run right here would be
Mm-hmm.
something very, very validating in his career. And obviously, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And I think he's going to win a championship eventually. But with Pat being there and with you having and him having the arsenal that he has, I think this is definitely a year to go get it. Zay Flowers not being in the lineup though does worry me. Um, do you think with that being his number one passer that is something that would hinder his success in this playoff run? Because if they win tonight, before you give me your answer, if they win tonight and Kansas City beats the Texans, it'll be them in Kansas City again.
Um, I mean, definitely. Me 1,000 yard receiver. So you threw a lot of your passes to him. So yeah, your offense definitely gonna be affected if you ask me. Now, granted, do they have something to substitute for that? Of course, you got Lamar Jackson. So maybe you need to incorporate his legs a little more. I don't know. Maybe instead of giving Derrick Henry 20 carries, you give him 30 to 35. I'm not sure how you do that, but you got enough out there now with the addition of D Henry to the squad to take some of that pressure off Lamar. So um, I'm agreeing with you on this matchup. Give me Ravens all day today, and I think this is the year. I don't think Lamar cares about an MVP. He shouldn't. Me personally, he shouldn't care about an MVP right now. The only thing that should matter to him is hosting that trophy up at the end of the season. They know why they went and got Derrick Henry. They got Derrick Henry for a reason, and it's to catapult him to that Super Bowl and beat Patrick Mahomes. He had a better team last year than the Chiefs, and he lost. It was primarily, if you ask me, on quarterback play, because his defense played outstanding against the Chiefs last year.
17-14.
Exactly. So they play
17-14.
they play absolutely outstanding against the Chiefs. So me personally, I think they got the Chiefs number. It's just about which quarterback gonna play the best. So it's Lamar ready? I think he's ready. This year, that's this last year was his first AFC championship. So I think that was his first taste. I think this year it's he's still lingering. That's still lingering. That beat that L they took last year, I feel like it's still lingering in the Ravens locker room. And I just feel like Derrick Henry knew that. I think they told him that personally when they went out and got him that hey, we need you to come out the AFC. So I think Derrick Henry got a lot of pride right now too. That's why I just feel like this year. If you look at the Chiefs, man, this might be biased. They've been cheating a lot. The refs been cheating a lot for them this year. And so they 15-2 or whatever their record is, but they should have lost 5 or 6 games. So I'm not big on, I'm big on winning, and that's the only reason I respect Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey. But when the refs start to, getting into it, man, you more about politicking at that point. So it's about time that somebody else beat the Chiefs. And if I'm gonna root for anybody, it's gonna either be the Eagles or it's gonna be the Ravens. And I definitely think the Ravens got what it takes, and the Eagles do as well. So
So,
it's gonna be a
so,
crazy year, man.
so we'll go ahead and talk about the rest of the AFC and get to the NFC since you mentioned the Eagles. Quick predictions. Obviously, we're taking the Ravens tonight. Um, uh, I'll take the Bills tomorrow. I do think Denver is an exceptional opponent, with them having one of the best corners in the league and
The
Patrick
best,
Surtain,
the best.
and arguably so, and a young rising talent in Bo Nix, and a credible, efficient rookie this past year.
Definitely.
Um, so, but I still got to go with Josh Allen. I think he's hungry. I think he wants the opportunity to see Lamar Jackson and right that boat. I think with the buildup of the incredible play between not only Lamar Jackson but also Josh Allen over the years, I think both of them have that chip on their shoulder, as far as wanting to knock off
Hey,
Patrick Mahomes.
hey, look, one of them got to go home, and they might have to play each other, and they
No,
both
no, 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 no.
in the running.
No, they have to play each other. That's what I'm telling you.
So that's a headline.
So Buffalo and the Ravens will be the next game if both of those teams take care of their battles tonight and tomorrow. And then the AFC Championship will be between them and Kansas City if Kansas City knocks out the Texans. You mentioned the Eagles, so we'll go ahead and swap over to the NFC side of the bracket. The one is the obvious Detroit Lions. It's been a great year for them. Shout out to them. I think I
Definitely.
want to shout out the Detroit Lions because I think the ability to overcome injury at such an epic rate when you talk about losing their best player on defense, and this is no knock to anybody else that plays defense for them, but it's true in my opinion, Aiden Hutchinson. Losing him at the beginning of the year with a broke arm or broke, it was something of that nature, broke arm or broke leg, and him actually being able to be ready to play. Actually, I think he may be playing in this playoff game next week, as far as whoever uh, wins between the Rams and the Vikings on Monday Night Football this upcoming Monday. So, but I want to shout the Lions out because they've overcome a lot of injuries and still been able to produce a great record this past year and secure the number one seed in such a great game between them and the Minnesota Vikings this past week. So 4-5 matchup, Monday Night Football, Vikings and Rams. 2-7 matchup are the Eagles and the Packers. And the 3-6 matchup will be between the Commanders and the Bucks. My quick prediction, and then I'll let you elaborate on some of these top talents. I heard you say the Eagles, so I ask you go there first, so I can ask you a few questions. Since you say you like the Eagles, obviously you supporting them because of Jalen, and obviously I like guys in the NFL because I just support individuals. I'm not a true fan of any team in the NFL. I am a fan of the work of all of those individuals because I know the demand that it takes to be able to produce at that level. So 2-7. That matchup between Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts. What do you think about it?
Give me the Eagles. I think the Packers have a great team. I think the Packers have had a great season. But kind of similar to the CJ Stroud situation. Jordan Love is a little too young for me. And I also think that Jordan Love hasn't been in the playoffs yet. So I think this is going to be different because of the fact that he hasn't seen this yet in this form of fashion. And I don't think he's felt the intensity yet from being in the playoff game. So I think that's going to kind of be a little iffy for him off. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, he had something to prove. So with him having something to prove, I think he's coming in this year trying to get back to that Super Bowl that they lost a couple years ago to the Chiefs. So give me the Chiefs, man. They got a lot of guys that have been banged up too this year on the offensive side of the ball. Jay Hurts missed a couple games recently due to a concussion. Devontae been out for a game or two. And also AJ Brown has been out as well. So, I think it's time for the Eagles to hit the ground running. They got a lot to prove this postseason. So give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles.
All right. Obviously, I think that's gonna be a good matchup. I do like what the Packers bring to the table. We have some of their guys. I do think they have a great defense. I also think that they have a great rising talent again, and Jordan Love. But I just, like I said, I agree with you. It's just too much in the arsenal for the Philadelphia Eagles. Them having a great defense, them having great individual players to fit in their schemes offensively and defensively, and then them being an organization that has won a championship within the last decade. It's still recent, it's still fresh, and it's something that they also have put in to do as well with making that monumental trade to get Saquon Barkley. I mean, and obviously he could have been the league's forever rushing leader this year had he not decided to be a team player and just sit out the last game of the season and be focused on this playoff run. So, like you said, it's a lot riding on it as well for that team. Looking into the 3-6 matchup between the Bucks and the Commanders, who you think is going to win that one?
I'm gonna go shocker with this one. Give me the rookie. Give me Jaden Daniels.
So you taking Jaden Daniels to beat Baker Mayfield at home?
It's gonna be tough, but give me the rook. One of them gonna win. If it ain't gonna be Bo Nix, it's gonna be Jaden Daniels. I feel like he got the CJ Stroud magic from last year. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? That rookie sensation. Same as Bo Nix, man. It's gonna be tough to beat both of those guys. Um,
Mhm.
because a lot of teams hadn't seen him before this year. So you still got a plan against him. Like he's a new quarterback in the league. So give me his ability to make plays when it break down. I look for B Rob to have a big game. Give me 80, 90 yards rushing. If he can get the carries. Terry McLaurin, I expect him to rebound and get loose in this game. He's had a couple tough matchups in the past recent weeks. And that defense, man, that defense hungry for something. The Commanders organization, formerly known as the Redskins, they've been down bad for a long time. So I think them boys hungry. It's crazy, brother, because a lot of these matchups, a lot of these teams, a lot of these teams hungry, man. A lot of these teams ready for a ring, ready for a Super Bowl run. So it's gonna be interesting to see, who come out. But I love the Bucks, man. What they got going on. I truly feel like this game could go either way. But I'm just siding with the rookie with this one.
Okay, all right. I agree. I agree. I just think, and there's nothing against Baker Mayfield. They both could go out there and have a great game. But I'm just gonna take the rookie because of his dynamic playmaking ability, and I also too agree with you from the standpoint of, and this no shot against the Bucks, because one of my one of my frat brothers holds it down and the linebacker core for him. Shout out KJ Britt. Shout out my dog. But the Commanders' defense in a whole, as far as that defensive line, and then obviously the playmakers in the linebacker core and then the secondary, I
There,
think they just have a better defensive system, with Dan Quinn being the head coach and having a great background as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. So
yeah.
that's a sound pick. That's a sound pick.
Okay.
The 4-5 matchup, I'm going the Vikings. I think the Vikings are eager to right that wrong last week. I think that they feel that they can compete with the Lions and possibly beat them. I think they've had a great year this year. Having 14-3 record doesn't come and by luck. It definitely takes the work, especially being in the highest level of football. So give me the Vikings an easy pick for me. I do think the Rams are going to be competitive, having Matthew Stafford, having championship experience with Sean McVay, especially recent, because they won. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago
Yeah.
when they beat the Bengals. So yeah, yeah, it was 2 years ago. Whenever before Patrick Mahomes started his two, so he been 1, 2. Yeah, yeah,
It would have
that
been one
makes
of
sense.
the years in the 2020s.
Yeah, yeah. So it's definitely gonna be a good game, but I just think the Vikings have more as far as having weapons available to for Sam McDonald or
Mhm.
Sam Darnold, and the best receiver, well, arguably the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
I don't. I would pick him on some days. Some days I might go Chase. Some days that fluctuates for me based on play week by week.
Hmm.
But he's definitely one of those guys, as you mentioned, when you talk about the best receiver in the NFL.
Agreed.
So you going the same thing on 4-5?
I'm gonna throw a wrench in there. I'm gonna say this is gonna be the upset. I'm gonna say Sam Darnold don't got no experience succeeding in the playoffs. I say it's gonna be a tough go for him. I say Jetta had a tough run last week against his I ain't gonna say his arch nemesis or arch rival, but number 21 from the Lions that he done played.
Meek Robinson.
Yeah,
Mhm.
since high school, then college, and I've seen him multiple times, and they know each other game. So I think this week somebody studied that film last week. I don't know who it is, but somebody studied that film. You can't shut him down. It's nowhere. It's no way possible how to do that. I think he still have a big game. I don't think he scores a lot of touchdowns. So I think Sam Darnold has a decent day in the air, maybe 200 plus, 250 plus. But I just don't think he converts into touchdowns in the long run. I think Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. I think, and you got a hot Kyron Williams at running back, and that D line still is pretty good without
Yeah,
without Aaron Donald, the former monster.
yeah. Having those two rookies from Florida State definitely helps.
That's big time. Big time. They've been balling this year too.
Yep.
So I honestly think, man, just because of that championship pedigree and Matthew Stafford being a vet in the game and Cooper Kupp being a vet in the game and Puka Nacua being a great sophomore receiver because he came out on the league and burst onto the league last year. And he took it up another notch when he came back from injury this year.
Yeah,
it's a perfect matchup for upset in my eyes. So I'm gonna roll with the Rams on this.
Okay. That's what's up. Well, and this is my last question. Who do you think is the better matchup for the Lions? Do you think the Rams winning would be a tougher matchup for the Lions? Or do you think no matter who wins that game, the Lions are going to be
the winner?
Yeah.
Me personally, I think the Lions don't want to see the Rams due to the championship pedigree. I think if they play Minnesota again, it's the same thing. 21 and Jetta, same matchup again. I don't think Jetta want that matchup again. Because he don't get off like that against Buddy. So I don't know if he want that matchup again. So I think Detroit gonna handle anything come out the East. I mean, come out the NFC unless you get to the Philly. I think it's gonna really boil down to Philly versus Detroit for the NFC
championship.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I definitely agree. I think them being the top two seeds. Now, obviously, there possibly will be some upsets in which we definitely pick one upset would be the Commanders over the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just pick the Rams over the Vikings. So there definitely are going to be some upsets. But like I said, it's gonna come down in the NFC to the Eagles or the Lions, and in the AFC to me, the AFC is more fluctuating to me because of the quarterback play, and I think that'll be. Obviously, it's great quarterbacks in the NFC too, but you don't get to the NFL playoffs without being great. So let's salute everybody that's there.
100.
But it's obviously levels to everything, and when you talk about the three quarterbacks in the AFC, Pat, Lamar, Josh Allen, those three guys themselves, those three guys themselves are sound when it comes to being competitive, sound when it comes to being great, sound when it comes to being fundamental, great leaders, faces of their franchise, or what they call the people that people pay to come see. You know what I mean? So
sure.
So that's definitely what I think. So, and now obviously you got Jalen Hurts, you got Goff, you got Stafford, Daniels, Mayfield, Love, but those three themselves, if I started to name a list of quarterback, two of those three are gonna be before I name anybody else. So that's
really all three of them. I mean, the one that you would put in there as the outlier ain't in the playoffs, and that's the one that won the Triple Crown. That's Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I'm really kind of bummed he's not there because Joey B has already been to.
Right, it would have been so fun to see him and Jamar Chase cut up in this playoff, and T. Higgins, because that's the Chiefs' arch nemesis, man.
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes struggled against Joe Burrow now.
Yeah. He won the only one that beat him. So
Twice.
so so
Twice.
so so I mean that's that, and I didn't even mention him, the young killer,
Hey,
Joey B,
ice in his
Eminem.
vein.
Look, Eminem. You
You
feel me?
feel me?
But yeah, man, that was a good one, man. Those three topics took us 50 minutes total right now. I think this is gonna be a great year for BAM Media. Uh, we appreciate you all for liking, sharing, and subscribing our content. And we're sorry for the wait, but we're guaranteeing you more and more content to come, fresh content, more ideas. I want to pay some respects before we get off to the victims of the LA house fires and also the victims in the New Orleans uh, tragedy, as far as the sad situation that took place on Bourbon Street. Me and my family was actually down there about 3 or 4 days before that uh, tragic situation took place. So I want to shout out to all families involved, send prayers to those people involved, and we appreciate you all for subscribing to and liking and sharing our content. And BAM Media will do more and more great things here in 2025.